What is up? Welcome into the PHNX Daily Bet Show, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Shane Diefenbach, joined, as always, by Johnny Venerable. How we feeling, Mr. Johnny?
Feeling great. Fresh off a dub. I haven't had a victory Monday for my blessed Arizona Cardinals since after Week 17 Dallas last December. So I'm feeling great. Cardinals betting. It was the most profitable weekend I've had gambling in some time. We were talking about it off air, about plus $200 this weekend on the DraftKings Sportsbook. And that came off of listen to this, folks, a simple cash in of a deposit of $20. And I flipped that in a matter of 2 days into over $200 using the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Not doing anything fancy. Just a little bit of moxie, a little bit of research, and wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. We're cashing in on Monday.
Love it. Well, there's a ton of good games, Johnny. There was a bunch of weird games, one which the Arizona Cardinals were a part of, but you guys talked about that at length on the PHNX Cardinals postgame show. Make sure you go watch that. So we won't cover that too much, but I do want to cover the other two weird games. Obviously, the Jets. Nick Chubb needs to go down. Are we in agreement there? Don't score that touchdown.
Yes, 100%. I have him in fantasy, so I apprecied the score. Yeah. And I also got the first touchdown in that game, paid out well. But the Jets, the clock management by the Cleveland Brass, you're up by 2 touchdowns with less than 2 minutes left. You lose that game. Yeah. Unexpected, unthinkable. Maybe somebody time management wise deserves to be fired. Yeah. Egregious.
The craziest thing for me is that 2 years ago, Nick Chubb broke like a 60-yard run in the same situation and then went down at the 1-yard line. Yeah, I don't know. I see people arguing back that you always score there just because you can get that's like, yeah, this isn't going to happen every time, but if you go down, the game is over. It's over. There's no chance. I don't understand.
I think, if they were playing like Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, I think he does go down. I genuinely, the Jets had done very little in the second half. They had put up 17 points through almost 4 quarters. I'm sure it was like, it's the Jets, it's Joe Flacco. Yeah. We're going to screw it. To me, it's worse. Special teams giving up the onside, and then the defense blown coverage multiple times. All I hear about is Cleveland's secondary. It's fantastic. They've got all these first-round corners. Myles Garrett not playing yesterday, huge loss. They had no pass.
Yeah. Denzel Ward was nowhere to be found with Corey Davis. All right. Well, let's also talk about probably my favorite game. And I said it on the bet show on Friday. I said this would be the best game of the day, and I think it was, in my opinion. The Eagles, or not the Eagles, that game's tonight. The other birds, the Ravens.
Yeah.
And my boy, Tua, and the Dolphins. Mike McDaniel is a mother effing genius. The man just
not a genius. He's a very good offensive coach.
This is why. Because a genius to me in the NFL is somebody that does things that work and nobody else is doing. I don't understand why this isn't what you just always do in football. Get the ball into your best player's hands regardless of what the situation is. Get Jalen Waddle on a slant. He will go house. Get Tyreek Hill the ball. He will go house. That's all you have to do, and you have 2 of the fastest receivers in the NFL. I said this over the weekend. Those 2 might be in the top 5 of fantasy receivers in PPR format this whole year. They both are going to get a ton of targets, a ton of catches, and you add Cedric Wilson into the mix. There's just so much room for side-to-side and vertical speed. This team is going to be very, very good on offense.
It's like that kid who inherits wealth from their family, and they buy him multiple Corvettes, and he fast tracks it to Harvard Law, and he doesn't have to study. And I get, and he's limited but that he gets by because his family's got connections. That's what's happening with Tua and the Miami
Oh,
Dolphins. But
Tua. Okay.
all seriousness, Shane, what I will say is this. That might be the best receiving core by the end of the season. I think, number one, people underestimated, at least I did, like how effective Tyreek Hill was going to be without Patrick Mahomes, because I did think there was going to be a drop-off. And also, I was always concerned that Jalen Waddle's ability to stretch the field would always be limited by Tua because he's got a little bit of a pop gun arm. But to your point, I mean, Brian Flores does not do that, what took place yesterday. It's Mike McDaniel. That's why if you're a young team, hello, Chicago, you idiots, you hire an offensive coach. You get the most out of your young quarterback. You flush the team with weaponry because it's an offensive league. Miami Dolphins defense looked like ass for 3 quarters, but then they had more horses in the barn in the fourth quarter offensively, and they took home the dub. It's like there are 2 schools of thought in the NFL. It's either you can win with a franchise quarterback and you pay a franchise quarterback and he elevates everybody else, or you've got a quarterback who maybe is a little bit limited, but we're going to surround him with talent, and then we can also compete and win championships that way. It's how Jimmy Garoppolo got to a Super Bowl. I think this, how Mike McDaniel is putting this team together, it's a very quarterback-friendly offense. That's why it's like, if you're Mac Jones or Justin Fields or Zach Wilson, you are up against it to develop. That's why Trevor Lawrence now has a chance. Doug Peterson, they get him Christian Kirk. Like, surround these guys with weaponry and smart offensive coaches. I'm sorry, if I have a defensive coach in 2022, I'm not winning jack shit.
Yeah. The biggest thing with me is the Tua is Jimmy G argument. I get to some extent, but Jimmy G doesn't do the things that Tua did yesterday.
He's a better prospect for sure. I mean, Jimmy was a 2nd-round pick out of Eastern Illinois. I mean, he's a more refined, accurate passer, but he's limited athletically. He can't run around, and he doesn't have a huge arm. But I mean, he makes very little mistakes, especially in crunch time in the second half. I know he threw those 2 picks, but his accuracy is legit. I can't deny that.
And he does go through his reads and sees things that a lesser quarterback wouldn't. I'm excited for that team. I'm excited for the Ravens as well. I think they're still going to be really good. Lamar Jackson was on another level yesterday.
Fantastic.
And that secondary just didn't play like themselves. But it's just hard to tackle when you got 2 of the fastest receivers in the NFL. All right. Well, let's go over our picks from the weekend. Johnny, we'll start with you. How'd you do?
Did really well. Par for the course, whatever. Cardinals ended up winning outright. Love that. Buccaneers won outright. Minus, I think they ended up winning by multiple scores because Jameis can't stop throwing picks because he doesn't have Sean Payton. That hit. Lions won big. Had a huge lead early, almost blew it, but minus 1.5. Your Seahawks, listen, I liked that line. I think if Trey Lance plays that whole game, it's a 1-possession game. Because he was so limited, but Jimmy G.
Well, if they don't throw a pass with a running back, I think that covers.
Yes, Jimmy G. Like the players like him more. I'm sorry, he's a better quarterback right now, and of course they're going to get enthused to play with him. Nobody was rooting for Trey Lance to get injured. That's a different conversation entirely. But I can swallow that one. And then Cowboys won outright. So yeah, nice little 4 for 5 for your boy, and feeling really good. A little bit of a heater, if you would, heading into this double Monday night matchup.
Love it. 3 for 5, not as good as 4 for 5. We'll look at my picks. Ravens, that was just insane. I will take that loss all day. Jags, they won easily. New England and Pittsburgh did go under. Obviously, Seahawks didn't cover, and then the Seahawks game did go under as well. So 3 for 5 on my picks, and then we'll get into my props. I think I did okay. Lamar Jackson easily hit that. DeAndre Swift, this was the craziest thing I've ever seen. DeAndre Swift breaking a 52-yard run to start the game. And then he finished with 5 carries for 56 yards. That was just so bad. Aaron Rodgers did not get in the end zone rushing, but he had a good game yesterday. And then the second half of my props, Devontae Adams was nowhere to be found. Byron Murphy locked him down. It was ridiculous. And then
it was unbelievable.
And then I believe Kyler Murray ended up hitting that because of the craziness that went in at the end of the game. So not terrible, but I'll double check on that Kyler Murray stat. Johnny, how did you do?
I think he was actually slightly below. I think he was about 28. But I got some props for you, some tasty props. My biggest, of course, the Nick Chubb first TD hit plus 370. You absolutely love to see it. Kyler, also Murray, hit 175 plus 175 anytime touchdown. And Kyler Murray threw the ball. Shane, you know how many times he threw the ball yesterday? 47.
Wow.
Times. 40. That has to be. I was trying to find this morning if that was a career high. It was not. I barely hit the passing yards as well. 277 thanks to some overtime. So not only was I 4 for 5 on my bets, I was 3 for 3 on those props. Hawkinson, did he hit the over? We're gonna have to check that in real time. I'm gonna have to check that in real time.
Actually, no. You know what? He came alive at the end of the game.
All right, this is not good podcasting. I'm checking in real time. Here's the Lions box score. D, Man Campbell, I love you. Hawkinson did not hit that. He had 26 yards receiving. Did not get my Lions defense anytime touchdown, but plus 500. I thought we'd get a Wentz pick 6 late in the game, and Wentz is actually goodness. That's
The Lions did get a safety
story.
though, right?
Yeah, and that didn't count. I was trying to argue with you that was going to count, but Aiden Hutchinson had 3 sacks. I mean, that team is fun as hell. Right now, of all the teams in the NFC North, you could pay me to watch. I would pay to watch the Detroit Lions. Combination of Campbell. I like their young talent. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a legitimate star player in this league. Wait until October. They're going to get, I don't know, Jameson Williams back, and he's going to be balling out. Jared Goff had 4 touchdowns. Washington's not terrible either. Washington last week beat the Jaguars, who beat up on the Colts. Man, the Colts are a disaster. So many great storylines. I love it so much.
I still think DJ Chark is finding his way in that offense. I mean, he's a legit receiver too. Kyler Murray's most passing attempts were against that game in Detroit in 2019. Threw for 54, and then 50 was the second most in 2020. It was
his first game ever played.
And then this is the third most he's ever thrown for. 49 passing attempts.
He was pretty good yesterday. Not sure if you saw that or not.
Yeah, he was. All right. Well, let's just dive into what our picks are for tonight. But before we do so, you can only get these lines as good as they are on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. They have player props, flash props, NFL squares, early cash out, everything you want in a sportsbook app. They got it. It's the best place to win some money. Plus, everyone can experience the thrill of early win promotion. Bet on any NFL team. If your team leads by 10 by any point in the game, get paid instantly. Even if they lose, no matter what, you get that money. So download it today. Use that promo code PHNX at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. But minimum age and eligibility restrictions do apply. See those show notes for more details. Also, we got some food waiting for us. We got Chop Shop. Love a good Chop Shop. Thank you to Chop Shop for hooking it up today with a delicious lunch. I'm so fired up. I got the spicy Korean bowl. You can also check out the limited time Greek-ish salad with fresh romaine, spring mix, onions, red pepper, olive, chickpea, cucumber, banana, pepper, and lemon vinaigrette. Order today at originalchopshop.com. They always got some good food. One of my go-tos when I was in Tempe at ASU. But you know who's not one of my go-tos? It's Kirk Cousins on Primetime Football. He is 2-9 on Monday nights. Obviously, his record in primetime in general isn't great, but it isn't as bad as people think. I think it's like 10-17. But this is where I'm staying away from Kirk Cousins. It's his record against teams that finished the season with a winning record, and that is 10-43. It's just abysmal. And if the Eagles somehow don't finish the season with a winning record, I would be shocked. This team is very good. Jalen Hurts is taking that next step. A.J. Brown is going to go nuclear against this Vikings secondary. It's just a matter, is Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson going to be enough to carry Kirk Cousins? Johnny, what are your thoughts?
The Eagles gave up 35 points to the Lions last week.
Division game.
I know everybody's excited about the Eagles. I am too. I think they're going to sleepwalk their way to the NFC East crown. Just like, they probably should have done last year. They were a better team than Dallas at the end of the year. I like Jalen, but he's not a refined passer yet. I am bullish on Minnesota's revamped defense. Zadarius Smith, Everson Griffin, 2 bookend pass rushers.
Yeah.
Their defense just gave Aaron Rodgers and Fitz last week. I know he had drops and receivers were inconsistent, but I think they're going to do some things that confuse Jalen Hurts, and I think Kirk Cousins makes enough plays right now. You'll have to convince me Justin Jefferson isn't the best receiver in the NFL and force feeding him the ball. I like Darius Slay. I don't think he can hang with him. The Eagles have a bunch of really nice pieces and prospects and talent that has not come together and gelled yet defensively. And I think we're probably going to get there around like week 8, week 10. But this to me screams upset on the road for Minnesota. Cousins, he is what he is at this point, but I think he can put up enough points in this game, 27-30, for them to eke out a win. I like Jalen, but I think now the narrative around Jalen has gotten too crazy. It was like, well, he can't throw, he can't play, he's not a starter too. Yeah, he's very competent player, probably above average. But now it's just like, Eagles are going to be the 1 seed in the end. Like, calm down. Like, we need to see more from Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, this is a litmus test. This is a litmus test for the Eagles for sure. If you lose to Kirk Cousins, you're not as good as people think.
I think there's a good chance these are two of the top, 4 or 5 teams in the NFC. So I just
you before the season, you thought you did not think the Vikings were going to be good though. What changed?
Well, I think they're going to be they destroyed the Packers in week 1. That was embarrassing. And that game was never particularly close. I think the Packers are limited. I don't take any stock into that garbage we watched last night because Packers are going to be challenged by the Lions this year like they've never been before. They've already lost to the Vikings. Put the Packers against real teams, and you're going to see this is just not a good team. I think it's a right around 500. I said these 3 teams, Detroit, Minnesota, and Green Bay, are all going to be separated by 1 to 2 games at the end of the year. I picked the Lions to win 10. I could see Minnesota winning 9, and I could see the Packers winning 8. I really could. I think it's all going to be a small margin for error. Nobody is elite. Nobody has a stacked roster, but they're all very competent.
Yeah, that division is very strange. And then you go to the Eagles division with just Cooper Rush and company. It's
Can
strange.
I just say something real quick? The NFC is wide open, and there are no great teams. The Chargers would be the best team in the NFC. The Bills, the Chiefs, there are a bunch of the NFC has a ton of parity, and that's great if you're a Cardinal fan. You just kind of hang around in the slums here, but Tampa's very beatable. The Saints are garbage without Sean Payton. Jameis looks awful. Nobody's taking anybody in the North outside of Philadelphia seriously. I'm sorry, Giants and Brian Dable. Your team isn't good. It's wide open. Jimmy Garoppolo, listen, and here's a big narrative around San Francisco and Jimmy G. Everybody said they needed to move off him because he was limited. And now everybody's like, oh, great, they're contenders again. That's bull fucking shit. Because if they wanted to keep Jimmy Garoppolo, they would have. There's always going to be a ceiling. He's going to have egregious games with turnovers and picks and interceptions and whatever. And the Rams to me do not look as good as in years prior. It's wide open. It's a great time to be a team in the NFC.
Yeah, I'm just really excited. This is the game I've been looking forward to. It was the Dolphins game and it was this game. I'm fired up for this game. Not super confident in the spread, but I'm leaning Eagles, and we'll get into my picks for tonight. We also got a pretty good game in the Bills game, which we'll talk about a little bit. I'm taking the Eagles minus 2.5. This is just because of Kirk Cousins on primetime. I do not want to bet against this trend. I do not want to be the guy that sits there and after the game I'm like, why the hell did I bet on Kirk Cousins? If Kirk Cousins beats the Eagles on primetime, I'm fine with that, but I'm not fine with losing money on Kirk Cousins on primetime. I also think this game goes under, which is very strange because these are 2 of the most fun offenses in the NFL. Just think we get a weird kind of muddy game tonight. Philly's going to be loud. It's going to be interesting. Under 49.5. It's a lot of points. And then the Bills, that I don't even need to explain myself. I mean, the only hope you have from this Titans team is Derrick Henry. Looks like King Henry, the MVP, but the MVP candidate, excuse me. But this Bills run defense is ridiculous. You can't run on the Bills anymore. That front 7 is just stupid. I think the Bills might win by 3 touchdowns tonight.
I don't know how Tennessee scores without A.J. Brown. Treylon Burks, a nice rookie. This year feels like mid-season. They move off of Tannehill. Malik Willis needs to play with Treylon Burke, and I think it's a transitional year where they win 7 or 8 games, and that's okay. You were the 1 seed last year. You take a step back, maybe take 2 steps forward. I don't hate your picks. I'm on the same side of you in a couple different ways. Right now on DraftKings, Bills minus 10 and the Vikings money line. What I'm taking, if you parlay it together, $20 pays out $80. And I feel really confident that both of those are going to hit tonight. I also like the over. I know Minnesota's defense was great last week. I just think there are too many great skilled players in this game between Dalvin and A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, who doesn't get enough credit, Dallas Goedert, Irv Smith, the tight end for Minnesota, who I think is going to make a jump this year. And, of course, Justin Jefferson. One of these teams is scoring 30 points, and the other is going to score, right around 24 to 25. So the over is going to hit. I like all 3 of these tonight. But if you parlay them together on DraftKings, the payout is significant. That's where the real money is made, my friend. Not just taking spreads and over-unders or whatever, parlaying them together for that sweet, sweet coin. Just dabble. $5 to $10 here and there, and you'll be in the know.
Aaron in the chat saying, thank you both for the Kyler anytime touchdown. As a newbie, I thought it included a passing touchdown and got excited, but I got bailed out on his game-tying touchdown.
We all did,
I remember when we were doing our emergency live about Herm Edwards, which you haven't watched yet. Go watch that. We talked about everything. Aaron commented in the chat saying, anytime a touchdown just hit. And I'm like, oh, really? You ran for a touchdown? And then I looked and I'm like, oh, no, he passed for a touchdown. I hope he runs for one later. And he ended up doing so. So, yes, of course. Love that. But, yeah, I could see this game going so many different ways. Honestly, I think the Bills might have a weird experience tonight too.
They've had
Monday,
10 days off.
Trust me, I know. I'm betting on the Bills. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Monday night doubleheader feels a little weird. It could be strange. Derrick Henry is not as washed as people think he is.
Yeah, I respect Tennessee's Mike Vrabel as a head coach too much. That's the only reason I have any hesitancy. But from a personnel standpoint, Tennessee lost their best pass rusher. He tore his ACL.
Yep.
They don't have A.J. Brown. Like, those are their two best players from last year.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry's a running back. Like, the Buffalo Bills, if I had to pick a team today to win the Super Bowl, it would be the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
They mollywhacked the L.A. Rams in their building to open the season. Like, they have elite skill players. Their defense looks better than ever with Von Miller. Like, to me, I don't know how this line's not bigger. And I think Tennessee starting the year 0-2, we're going to be jagging off here pretty soon. Trevor Lawrence and company, that looks like the best team in the South right now.
Yeah. Going back to the Devontae Smith, talking about getting enough credit. He obviously didn't catch a pass last week, which is strange because he was expected to take a huge step this year. I'm excited to see what he can do tonight. I was rewatching some Alabama stuff from 2020, and that offense was just stupid. But Devontae Smith that year and the year after, just a ridiculous talent. So hopefully he can take that next step this year as well, because him and A.J. Brown, there are some really good wide receiver duos and some really good young wide receiver duos in the NFL that are new or are coming out of their shell. It's exciting to see. So hopefully you can take that next step. I don't have him as a prop tonight, but I got these two cuties for you. Josh Allen over 40.5 rushing yards. The man is a super soldier. Josh Allen's super soldier is going to run for 9,000 yards by the time his career is over. The man is a freak. Take that at -110. And then I also like Kirk Cousins to throw a pick. The lights are going to be too bright. Eagles fans are going to be too loud. Kirk Cousins is not going to have the best game of his career, I would say, tonight. But if he does, prove me wrong, Kirk Cousins. I love the Vikings this year. I bet on them to win the division. I bet on their over win total. And I love me some Justin Jefferson. Might do some grittying tonight in my living room.
Quick note, the Philadelphia Eagles ran for over 200 yards against the Detroit Lions last week. 4 different players scored rushing touchdowns. Boston Scott, you can get him, I think, at +400 to score rushing touchdown tonight. We love Devontae Smith. We love the weaponry, but there's a reason why Jalen Hurts, a lot of people think run first, throw later, and he had some nice passing yards last week, but just 1 passing touchdown.
Yep.
Maybe one of those things where you might want to phase the wide receivers from a touchdown production standpoint, double down on one of these second or third tier rushing options, especially Jalen Hurts, anytime rushing touchdown. And you'll be
why is this your lead into your props when you bet on a AJ Brown anytime touchdown?
Well, because AJ Brown's in a different category because he did catch the touchdown last week. I'm talking about the second tier options for the Philadelphia Eagles. Here are my props for tonight's second matchup. Josh Allen, 263.5.
Yeah,
that's going to happen. That might hit in the first half. And then A.J. Brown, anytime touchdown. As we mentioned, that can be a receiving or rushing touchdown. Could see a bootleg and end around. He's their best player offensively suddenly. And unfortunately for somebody like Devontae Smith, kind of get lost in the shuffle because in a perfect game for Jalen Hurts, he's going to want to throw, 20, 25 passes. He's going to want to run the ball. He had almost 100 yards rushing last year. You worry about Devontae. Like, will he ever reach his potential? You watch Jalen Waddle, counterpart at Alabama. He's in a very pass-happy offense with Mike McDaniel, in part because Tua can't run. And then it's Jalen Hurts, all these, former Alabama quarterback receiving combos, and it's just funny how it all works out. But Devontae Smith should have been a Cardinal. Cardinals should trade up for him, but being wasted away.
I wish I could bet on how many times A.J. Brown gets targeted tonight, because he was targeted 13 times last week and caught 10 of those passes.
I think Justin Jefferson could have over 200 yards tonight. I think the offense, they've made it clear with an offensive coach.
Defense isn't that bad anymore, though.
What's that?
The defense isn't that bad anymore, though.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting. This game's gonna be weird.
Defense is pretty good, and he just ate them alive last week.
Yeah, there was a lot of blown coverage, and it was weird. But regardless, gonna be a good time tonight. Follow along on Twitter with us. You can follow me on Twitter at Shane Deef. Follow Johnny on Twitter at Johnny Venerable. Follow the show on Twitter at PHNX_bets. We're here every Monday through Friday at noon on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Also, one quick thing before we get out of here: Herm Edwards is gone, but ASU football still plays on, baby. We got the Utes on Saturday. Make sure to come out to Four Peaks watch party. Huge game. I'm guessing the spread's going to be Utah by 20 just because of the coach thing. Maybe not. We'll see. But definitely come out to the official PHNX tailgate at Four Peaks. $50 ticket includes 2 fantastic beers from Four Peaks, and all you can eat catered buffet at Four Peaks, and a ride to the game from Four Peaks. 8th Street Pub in Tempe. Don't miss out. You can click on the link in the description to go ahead and get your tickets for that. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be
Great
rowdy.
deal.
The boys will be buzzing. Definitely come out, drink with us, chill with us, hang out. Going to be a good time. Four Peaks, 8th Street Pub in Tempe. Click on the link in the description for more details. We're also live. PHNX Sun Devils live at 3 p.m. Johnny, Winnipeg Cardinals live.
Today, 4 p.m. Arizona time, myself, Damian Anderson, Bo Brock. Victory Monday for the Redbirds. We're going to hear from Cliff Kingsbury and company. What do you do with A.J. Green? Is he a liability? Can Isaiah Simmons force his way back into the lineup after the forced fumble? And Kyler Murray, what is left to say about K1? Can the Cardinals defeat Sean McVay for the first time at State Farm Stadium this coming Sunday? Find out all that and more today. PHNX Cardinals live, 4 p.m. Be there.
Definitely. We'll be back tomorrow, as I said, every Monday through Friday at noon. Also,
Yes,
the link
the
is
lines can't go down 0-3, Shano.
Yeah. Also, the link is in the description or in the comments if you want to sign up right now. It's going to be a good time, so definitely do so. We'll see you guys tomorrow, though, noon, right here on the PHNX Sports YouTube channel for Guess the Lines. Peace, love, and Primetime Kirk.